Starting in 5th, another British F3 debutant this weekend, and then it'll be Li Shikong starting at the back of the grid as they make their way up towards the right-hand hairpin at Village, and then they come into the loop and head back out under the Wellington Straight. So as far as the standings are concerned, then Martin Chow leads the championship. Sam McLeod was in 2nd place, but he has now dropped down because he is not here this weekend. So it's Andy Chang who's moved up into 2nd place in the standings. And the race this morning, as I say, won as a canter by Igor Ruchov, who really took control in the drying conditions, and he's there in the dark blue car towards the back. So it's the red and white car on pole position, number 7 of Matt Rao. The blue car alongside him will be the double R car of Andy Chang. Then there, the first white and red machine in shot is number 3, Marvin Kirchhofer, the reigning German Formula 3 champion. And he's just in front of Martin Chow, the man leading the British F3 Championship. So it's a real mix-up of a grid with Igor Uruchev, Cameron Kaminsky and Li Shikong completing our 7 runners as the cars try and get some heat into their rear tyres by just flooring the throttle, weaving around a little bit, and it'll be great to get a proper British F3 race going. The race this morning was interesting and entertaining because the cars were really struggling in the damp conditions, but hopefully now we'll get a clean, dry race and some good battles towards the front. It's a 30-minute race, and it'll begin when those 5 red lights go out. First we need the marshals to move out the way, which they will do once all the cars are in position. And the 5th round of the 2014 Cooper Tires British F3 Championship about to get underway. On the left-hand side, on the right-hand side there, on pole position is Matt Rao for Fortec. Alongside him is the blue car of Andy Chang as we wait for the lights to go out here at Silverstone. Race 2 of the weekend is go. And it's not a great start from Matt Rao. Slicing through the middle is Marvin Kirchhofer, and he moves into the lead of the race. It's Rao in 2nd place. Up into 3rd by the looks of things. It's going to be Martin Chow as they come through Copse Corner for the first time, and there's contact there, and that's big trouble. And it looks as though they might all scrape through, apart from, I think it's Andy Chang who's got collected and sent out onto the grass there. So Andy Chang got caught up in the middle of that sandwich, really, by the looks of things, as they exited Copse Corner. But it's Fortec 1, 2, 3 up at the front as they come out onto the hangar straight for the first time. Marvin Kirchhofer leads. It's 2nd place for Matt Rao, the pole man, and it's 3rd place for Martin Chow, the championship leader. Down into Stowe Corner for the first time. It may well have been Uruchev who was the other car that got involved there, which would be a real shame. And there's the move for 2nd place. Down the inside comes Martin Chow. He takes 2nd position away from Matt Rao, but Rao will try and fight back as they come through the 2nd apex at Club. He's tucked right under the rear wing as now they come towards the very fast right-hander at Abbey. He looks to the inside. That's going to be brave as they come into Abbey, but nothing doing just yet. Chow holds on to the position, or Chow unable to get past Rao then as they come into the hairpin. Rao down in 3rd place as he tried to fight back to get back into 2nd place, but Martin Chow was having none of it. It was Igor Ruchev who was involved in that incident at the start, and what a shame for the Russian, because he has had a successful, well, he will see the replay. So Matt Rao gets a bad start, Kirchhofer swipes through, and then Uruchev, I think, goes very, very wide here, the blue car on the left-hand side, and as he comes back on, he gets squeezed in and clatters into the side there of Andy Chang, and the Macanese driver is sent off into the grass, and Uruchev has pulled to the side of the road. He is out of the race, unfortunately. Up at the front, Marvin Kirchhofer has got a 2.5 second lead. 2nd place then is Martin Chow, but he's only a 1/10 of a second clear of Matt Rao in 3rd position, and they've got up into 4th place then Cameron Kaminsky. So that's great news for the American, the 20-year-old who was born in Ohio, lives in Scottsdale, Arizona when he's in the States, and lives in Cambridge when he's racing here in the UK. But what a nice little queue we've got. And also at the back of that is Li Shikong, the 20-year-old Chinese racer. So a 4-ways fight for 2nd position. But it looks as though Marvin Kirchhofer might just head off in the lead of this race. Hopefully we won't need a safety car for the damaged car of Igor Uruchev. 100% sure where he pulled off. Well, that's exactly where he pulled off then, on the exit of club, so that shouldn't cause too much of a drama, I don't think. There you can see the standings then, and into the pits comes Andy Chang with a left rear puncture. It certainly looked as though Kirchhofer was coming back onto the circuit with a great degree of gusto, as Chang now pulls in. But they're in third place at the moment is Matt Rao, the 20-year-old Briton. And well, here's a replay actually at Luffield, and Matt Rao almost got alongside again, didn't he? That's Chow in the 57 car on the outside. Whoa! Are they going to touch there? Not well, a little bit, I think. A little bit of wheel-on-wheel action. That's how close they were as they came through Luffield Bend last time around. So Chow under real pressure. He's now managed to get the gap back to Matt Rao to just under a second. And then Kaminsky is a further second back. And Li Jikong is only 0.6 of a second back from Kaminsky. So second through fifth, covered by just 2.5 seconds. Through Beckett's and Maggots, and then out onto the Hangar Straight. It looked as though Kaminsky got a little bit sideways coming out onto Hangar Straight as the pressure starts to come on him from Li Jikong behind. Such different weather conditions to this morning, though. There was pretty much a lake halfway down the Hangar Straight, but now everyone's got it back all under control. Now that the weather has dried up, although looking out the commentary box window, I can see some dark clouds around, but they won't come, hopefully, in the next 25 minutes. As we see Kaminsky racing this weekend for Double R, as he did in Rockingham. Picked up 2 fourth places and a 5th at Rockingham, and so he's set for another 4th place here at the moment, but he might be able to do something about Matt Rao in front of him. Martin Chow has just set the fastest first sector of anyone, and has got the gap at the front down to just under 3 seconds. There is Li Jikong, 5th place. But there's our Fortec Motorsports 1, 2, 3. Marvin Kirchhofer has responded by going 0.6 of a second quicker than Chow in the middle sector. He set the fastest lap of the race on that last lap. 1 minute 56.585. The race this morning, the quickest lap was a 2 minute 18.4, so that shows you exactly how wet it was earlier in the day. Across the line comes Kirchhofer, and he has extended his gap to 3.4 seconds now over Chow in second place. Then we've got Matt Rao, then through comes Kaminsky, not too far ahead of Li Jikong. Li Jikong probably one of the most experienced drivers in the field. Started out in 2009 in the Asian Formula Renault Championship, finished 6th there. And it was Alan Day actually who won the title, who's now a regular GT racer. He was then 6th in Formula Pelota China in 2011, the championship that was won by Matteo Tuscia. Won a race at Zhuhai that year in the Asian Formula Renault Challenge. He then moved to GTs in 2012, finishing 2nd in GT Asia, driving a Porsche 911. Just beaten to the title by Weng Sun Mok, who was racing in a 458 that season. But we're looking at Cameron Kaminsky now, who only has an 0.8 of a second advantage over Li Jikong. Kaminsky competed in 2 rounds of the MRF Challenge. He was born out of India, but he was competing in the rounds in Bahrain. Picked up a 6th place finish in that competitive field, so a promising future for the 20-year-old American there. And a strong run in British F3, I think, will look pretty good on his CV as well. Meanwhile, Marvin Kirchhofer up at the front is continuing to go quicker and quicker. He's just set the fastest middle sector of anyone. And he's continuing to extend his advantage over Martin Chow in 2nd place, who in turn is pulling away from Matt Rao in 3rd. There is Matt Rao. Best place finish last year was 3rd in the Snetterton in the British Automobile Racing Club Formula Renault Championship. He was the British Formula 4 Duratec class champion back in 2012. This season he was down in New Zealand in the Toyota Racing Series, where he had a best place finish of 5th at Hampton Downs, so Rao one to look out for. There he is in the number 7 Fortec machine. Kaminsky starting to drop Nishi Kong behind him. The gap there is just up to pretty much a second. But again, Chow is quick in Sector 1. The second place driver at the moment, Martin Chow, who missed free practice 1 yesterday because he had to take an exam at Kiel University. But he is set the fastest first sector of anyone. He has been strong around that first sector. Let's see what it's like in the middle sector. Kirchhofer will come through the timing beam sooner rather than later. The final sector here is very short in terms of actual corners to go through. It's the middle sector that's the main meat of this Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. And he loses 0.4 of a second in that middle sector, does Chow. So Kirchhofer is continuing to pull clear. A very exciting young German prospect. He was the ADAC Formal Masters champion in 2012, and then in his debut season in car racing, and then in his debut F3 season he was the German Formula 3 champion, taking 24 podiums out of the 25 races, 12 of those victories. And this year he's also competing in the GP3 championship, where he picked up 2 5th place finishes in Barcelona in May at the start of the season. Earlier in May, I should say. And there he is, winding his way through Beckett's, through Maggots, and out through Chapel, eventually onto the Hangar Straight, driving very nicely. 0.4 of a second quicker than Martin Chow on that last lap. You can see there, 0.351. One more race tomorrow for these guys before they head off to the next circuit, which will be Snetterton. There's also a trip to Spa after that. Thruxton, Brands Hatch and Donington completing the championship calendar. So we are getting reports that there's a few drabs of rain out there on the circuit. Well, there we go. You can see that it is starting to rain. It's out probably towards the south of the circuit at Stowe. It's up here in the main pit lane complex. It looks reasonably dry, but this could throw a bit of a spanner in the works. There's Kaminsky, 2.4 seconds behind Rao. Race director is now saying heavy rain reported turn 2 to turn 4, so that's Beckett's and Maggots essentially. So we'll see this time around whether our race leader Marvin Kirchhofer is affected by any of this. 20-year-old from Leipzig comes out onto the start-finish straight. Into Copse Corner. You can see the rain. You can see the rain there coming down. Very, very light at that particular part of the circuit, but it's reported to be coming down a little heavier here through this section of the circuit, and you see Kirchhofer losing the back end, starting to lose the grip as the rain threatens to set in, and there's someone who has lost the grip. I think that's Kaminsky, who's gone off. We'll wait for confirmation, but I think Cameron Kaminsky has found himself in the wall at Copse. There you can see Li Shikong is still running in 4th place now, because Cameron Kaminsky, the American driver, has ended up in the tyre barrier. And good to see him chatting with the marshals and climbing out of the car. But Cameron Kaminsky is out of this race, and let's see what happened. He's just lost it, probably as the rain came down, and Kaminsky is out of the race. Race leader Kirchhofer still dealing with the conditions okay at the moment. We're approaching the halfway stage in the race. You can see how much he's lapping quicker than Martin Chow in second position. Now, was that just a brief little shower? It's certainly getting darker over towards Kopp's Corner, which is where Kaminsky has ended his race. Hopefully they'll be able to get that car out and sorted again for tomorrow. As Marvin Kirchhofer then comes through Woodcote Corner, out onto the start-finish straight once more. You can see a bit of spray starting to kick off now on the slick Cooper tyres, and he really has to get out of it coming through Kopp's Corner. So that seems to be where the main area of rain is. The lap times dropping off, 4.5 seconds slower that time around. In has come Li Jikong into the pit lane. So has he come in to switch to wet weather tyres? That could be an interesting decision. We'll try and keep an eye on that as he exits the pits. But there's our top three. 4 seconds between each. Matt Rao running in third place, as Martin Chow looks to pick up his 5th second place in 5 races so far this season. Looks pretty dry down there, doesn't it, at the club? I think if Li Jikong has come in to put wets on, it might have been a little premature. So there's our race leader Kirchhofer. There in second place is Martin Chow. He's plenty of experience of this Silverstone circuit as well, having raced in Formula Renault BARC for the past couple of seasons. Finished third here in that championship last year. Took a win at Rockingham. And there is Li Jongqi then. Has he come out on wet tyres? He has, hasn't he? So Li Jikong has come into the pits and gone out again on wets, but that looks to have been a very premature decision at the moment, because the circuit is predominantly still dry. Okay, here at Kopp's it's still a bit wet, but even now there's less spray off Kirchhofer's wheels than there was the last time around. It's still there, that sort of faint mist kicking up off the Cooper tyres and on the camera lens as well, but much less dramatic than it was a few laps ago. So we might see Li Jikong coming back into the pits this time around, although rain is still being reported around the circuit, so this is going to be an interesting one. Here is our wet shod man. Problem is, if rain doesn't come soon for him, those tyres are just going to burn out and lose all grip, and then he'll be in trouble. Through the left-hander of Aintree. The Volkswagen engine doing its job. 2 Volkswagen engines in the field for Sheng and Oronchev, although Oronchev is out of the race. The rest all powered by the Mercedes engine. Now, will we see? Well, he's got to, I guess, stay out there for a couple of laps just in case the rain does come. But Kong comes across the line, and he is, well, that final sector was only a couple of 3 seconds off the pace of Kirchhofer, and his middle sector actually was quicker than the front runners are racing at the moment, so it's not too much of a disaster. But of course he's made a pit stop, but if the rain does come now, it still won't be a terrible decision for Kong. Here's our race leader though, Marvin Kirchhofer, really having to battle hard there, isn't he? Out through Woodcote Corner, and once again we're starting to see the spray come off those tyres. You can see the line being left on the tarmac behind the cars. So they turn through Copse. You can see the water being left behind Matt Rao's car. And we're now lapping in the 2-minute 10, so we're lapping 15 seconds slower. And Zhao is closing in on Kirchhofer up at the front, and Kirchhofer's getting very, very close to the grass here. Only 11 minutes to go at Silverstone in the second Formula 3 race of the season. And we could be an entertaining last 11 minutes. It all kicked off though here when Matt Rao didn't get a great start. Brilliant launch from Kirchhofer. He swept into the lead, but then Igor Rudchev, race winner from the first race, went very, very wide. And look at him coming back on the track. He comes on very violently and clashes into the side of Andy Chang, but Chang himself was getting pushed out. There you can see the rain that we had earlier on. And what's the rain doing now then? They're now 6 seconds off the pace in the first sector alone. This is going to be a big call from the teams, because it's getting very unpleasant here at Silverstone. Look at the rain coming down now. Soon they'll have to pit for wets. Marvin Kirchhofer is leading the way, but the top 3 are Fortec cars. So they can't pit them all at the same time, surely. Li Qikong lapping a couple of seconds a lap quicker. Nothing too drastic just yet. He's the only man who's come in and switched to the wet tyres. It may still have been a tad too soon. But these guys are out there now on slicks. 10 minutes to go. Is this a passing shower or is the rain setting in? These are the questions that they've all got to try and ask themselves. Kirchhofer stays out for another lap through Woodcote. He comes across the line to do a 2:17.9. Zhao comes across the line to do a 2:18.9. So the gap's still 5 seconds between first and second. And into the pits has come Matt Rao then from third place. He's the first man of our leaders to gamble on taking the wet weather tyres. Just seen him come past the commentary box window, so he will be into the pits now. There's Martin Zhao in second place, 5 seconds off the lead of the race. Kirchhofer down into Stowe corner. There you see he gained some time over Zhao on that last lap, but the previous couple, Zhao had been edging into him. Now there is our only man at the moment on the wet weather tyres, Li Qikong. How's he lapping? Reasonably well. Not spectacular, but a second or so quicker than Kirchhofer in the first sector. And it'll be interesting to see then where he comes out relative to Matt Rao, who is the man who's been into the pits. So I think Rao's already out of the pits, actually, come to think of it. Looking at the timing screens, and yes, he is. So Matt Rao comfortably out in front of Li Qikong. So there you can see the grooved wet weather tyres strapped to the side of the Dallara F312. What is Marvin Kirchhofer going to do? Through Aintree, he's having to go so slowly. You can hear the application of the throttle. He's hardly pushing it, just coasting around the corners almost. Into Luffield Bend, trying desperately to find the grip out there. Kirchhofer, will he come in this lap? No, he's continuing to stay out. He's going to try and hold on out there. Across the line he comes. His gap over Martin Zhao is still pretty healthy, 4.2 seconds, even though Zhao took a good 7/10 out of him that time around. If these two guys can get away without pitting, they'll stay ahead of Matt Rao, but every moment they lose out there, whoa, big slide from Kirchhofer, keeps it together, but every lap they're out there, they're losing time now to Matt Rao in third place. It's such a gamble in these conditions. Such a gamble. 6 minutes, 40 seconds to go. So we've got a couple of 3 or 4 laps remaining in this race. So first sector for Kirchhofer, a 42.6. Matt Rao at the moment hasn't gone through, and you can see Li Kong is now going quicker than Kirchhofer. The last couple of laps he hasn't been. Kong is the man who went on to wets first, but now he is going quicker. But there is Matt Rao. I was just about to say he hasn't come through the third sector, and unfortunately it's because he's had a moment. And he looks a little low on that rear right, and the red flag has come out. The red flag has come out here at Silverstone, and that means that the race will be halted. Now I wonder, now we're seeing a replay here. Here comes Rao into the left-hander. Back end's getting away from him. He wrestles to try and, oh, that right rear wasn't attached. Not attached properly. And Matt Rao is sent spinning. What disappointment for the Englishman. The race will not restart. And so that will be the end of the British Formula 3 race here from Silverstone. Marvin Kirchhofer will take the win. Second place for Martin Chow. Third place, I think, will be Matt Rao, because Li Kong has moved past him at the moment and up into third place, but usually the red flag will act on the countback. And so I think Li Kong will be down in fourth place. Now, looking here, look at the right rear. If we look closely, you can already see it's not really attached there, can't you? It's not properly attached to, oh, and there you see something bouncing off it. Perhaps the wheel nut or something bouncing off just before he comes into the right-hander at Brooklands. Now watch out. And there you can see the cars have stopped on the grid. And the race will not restart. So, Marvin Kirchhofer, reigning German Formula 3 champion, takes his first victory in the Cooper Tyres British F3 Championship. And it's such a shame that that red flag came out, because it robbed us of what was looking to be a very entertaining finale. Were they going to pit for wets? Were they going to stay out on slicks? Here's a look at the results after 12 laps. I think the results will be taken after 11 laps, because we usually have the countback scenario. So I think it'll be Matt Rao in third place and Li Kong in fourth, but we'll wait for official confirmation later on today. Kaminsky, unfortunately, out of the race, as was Andy Chang and Igor Rudchev. But Marvin Kirchhofer taking victory in his first weekend in the British Formula 3 Championship, ahead of Martin Chow finishing in second place. Third, as I say, I think will be Matt Rao, but we'll have to wait for official countback. So there's more racing to come tomorrow. Here's a look at the start once more. Brilliant start from Kirchhofer. He managed to move into the race lead very, very promptly indeed. But then there was this contact as Rudchev went wide. Came back on, collected Andy Chang, and that was a real shame. And there you see Rudchev out at the side of the circuit, not the way he wanted his race to end. Li Kong there coming into the pits, and I think he will be classified in fourth place. But as I say, we'll have to wait for a decision from the stewards on the countback, as the ART McLaren gets pulled out at the side. But a great start, as we saw from Marvin Kirchhofer. That's what moved him up into the lead of the race. Impressive stuff from him. But then there's Igor Rudchev going wide, and, well, 3 into 1 doesn't go, does it? And actually, it looked as though Matt Rao was lucky not to get collected in that. But then we had some great battles between Rao and Chow. They were swapping places left, right and centre. But it was Marvin Kirchhofer who managed to take the lead, hold on to the lead, and dominate for the remainder of the race. Then there was a moment for Cameron Kaminsky. He ended up in the tyre barriers as the rain started to come down, the American not dealing with the slippery conditions. Then the rain started to really come down. Kirchhofer was doing well out at the front. Matt Rao came into the pits to switch to wet weather tyres. It didn't work out. He lost the rear end. Join us tomorrow for race 3 at 1:30 local time.